If we'll turn to the next page, this is the one. It's the pyramid. I'm sure some of you have seen the pyramid on the back of your dollar bill, if you've ever studied your dollar bill. They usually come and go so fast we don't get a chance to study the dollar bill. But on the back of it is a picture of a pyramid, and at the top, an eye. This is an Islamic symbol that was adopted because the Masons were very influential in the early days of the forming of the United States. George Washington was the highest ranking Mason in a secret order of Masons in the colonies. Many of the founders of this country were Masons and actually used the Masonic movement and its secret order to help foster the revolution. The idea of eternity, or equality and fraternity originated with the concept of the Muslim Brotherhood. The idea that when you became a Muslim, you became part of a brotherhood of equality. Now, it essentially was founded on the idea of the quality and equality of all human souls. Over the years, it's been lost, unfortunately, but the Masons who studied Islam in the early years of around the 13th and 14th century, they studied Islam and learned algebra, learned the Arabic alphabet, brought it into Europe, particularly into Italy, and they were persecuted by the church, so they became an underground movement, and they spread much of the knowledge of Islam into the Christian world through this secret organization. And you can find out more about it, just check with the History Channel. It's got all kinds of information on this subject. But I would suggest to you, we have no idea how much Islam contributed to what we call the Renaissance. What the Renaissance was the impact of Islamic learning that was driven out of Islam and fled and was eventually adopted in the West. But it was brought in by a secret organization of church builders called Masons. But they eventually became a religious movement. If you look at the symbols of the Masonic movement, the half moon and a star. Look at the hats that the Shriners wear. You'll find many, and this is one of the symbols, is this idea of the eye of God at the top, that at the base, the vast majority of people live at the base. As you go up the mountain of guidance and truth, there are always fewer and fewer. There should be divisions, but as you notice here, I've divided it. The first starts with the Big Bang at the point at the beginning and ends with the point of recognition of the manifestation of God for the age in which you live. Everything else is time in between. We begin in before we get to the pyramid, we're in the matrix of nature. There's the divine pre-existent purpose, the innocent self-centered child, Garden of Eden, matrix of nature, embryonic beginnings, individuation of soul. Then we go into the stage of Adam where we become a teenager, and that includes the period of time all the way to the coming through to Muhammad is the adolescent period of humanity. We entered the mature age with the coming of the Bab. But here you see I've divided the sincere, the near, and the exalted, and below that the seekers. Over on the other side, body, mind, heart, and eye. All the key pieces I've tried to get in here so you can kind of see how it unfolds and how in each time we move forward, there are fewer people that make the proper choice. Each one of us is on this journey. Where will we land is the question. But it's just a graphic to kind of put together what we've been talking about for these last few days.